Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in this video I'm going to discuss another very recently released feature which is still in preview, and this feature is all about creating declarative as well as hosted agent using VS Code. And once those agents are created from scratch using VS Code, then we will see how we can publish them to Microsoft Foundry and use it inside the Foundry. So we will see how the workflow is created, how we have associated the agent with a workflow, and how this entire thing is built, and how we can also enable the monitoring and the traces. So this is all the agenda of this video. And if you don't know what is declarative agents and hosted, I would recommend you to check out my previous video, because in that video I have already demonstrated you like how you can run and test your agents inside VS Code, and those are the declarative agents which we created in Foundry. So in this video, we will see how we can start everything fresh from scratch using VS Code, and then we will move it to the Foundry. So let's move on to the VS Code, and the very first thing you need is you should have an active Azure subscription definitely, and the Visual Studio with the latest version. And once it is with you, you can go to Extensions tab, and here you need to install this extension, Microsoft Foundry. So this extension is still in preview because it was released just a few weeks back. So make sure that you are having it in your toolbox. And once this extension is installed, you can see a new icon got added on your left hand side toolbox. So this is the Microsoft Foundry. And at this point, I have already logged into my VS Code. So make sure that you are also at that step. Now here you can see create project. So let's click on create project, and here you need to choose the resource group because we are going to eventually push this particular agent or the flow on the Azure. So we need to have one resource group for us. So I will say create a new resource group, and let's name it as and here you need to select the region where you want. So now again, as this feature is still in preview, it is not available in all the regions. So make sure that you are going through the regional availability link and making sure that it is available there. So I would go with North Central US, and here we can give the name. So I would say the name of my project is the same project, and soon you will see that your project got created. Let's give it a few seconds. On the bottom right you can see the progress bar is still running, so we need to give some time here. It is trying to create a project, which we usually do it from the Foundry. So after this extension, things are pretty much easy. You need not to write much of a code. So many things are already readily available for us. So it is created successfully. Now on the bottom right, you can see that it is asking to deploy the model. So whenever we are working with AI agents, definitely we need to have one model which we can use it to query. So you can choose any model, but let me go ahead and use the same one, which is GPT-4.1. So I will go with this one, click on deploy, and now it is going to deploy that model for us. So you can see how easy it is. We are not doing anything fancy. Perfect. So our model is ready. Everything is here. You can now, if you want, you can click on deploy to Foundry, so that whatever the project we are creating, it will be available in the Foundry. So I would simply say yes, deployed, and now it is giving you the message that are you sure you want to deploy, because it is going to definitely cost you something. So make sure that you are reading all these intermittent messages very carefully. So now it is creating a deployment. So if you want, you can also go and validate whether it's actually created. Sometimes it takes time, but you can definitely go and check it out, and it should be available here soon. So that is the one step. Now let's close this, and on the left hand side you can see that there are two new options, declarative agents and the hosted agents. So hosted one is still in preview, But let me quickly show you this declarative agent. So when I'm saying declarative, it means that we are not going to write any code. Everything is like using the UI or using the configuration. All the steps are predefined and you just have to like plug and play sort of scenarios. So let's go ahead and click on this declarative agent, click on plus, and it will open up a new panel wherein you can furnish all these details. So the very first thing you can see here is on the right hand side the YAML file. So right now it's full of comments and almost blank with the required placeholders. So what you can do is, if you're comfortable, you can update this, but I would recommend you to use this UI because it is very clean and easy to work with. So I would name it as, let's give a name as data agent. You can give any name depending on your situation or the scenario. Then we need to select the model. So you can see the model is already appearing because we have already deployed this few seconds back. And here you need to provide the instructions. So we can say you are an agent which can provide ideas for blog post for the given topic. You are an agent which can provide ideas for a blog post for the given topic. Okay, let's go with bare minimum instructions because we are not going to test this agent here. We are not going to verify how is it spitting the output. And if you want, you can add the tools and everything. You have all these features available, but I'm not going to do that again. And once you are done with this, click on create agent on Microsoft Foundry. So now it will go ahead and create an agent for us which will be available on the Foundry. So you can see it got created. Perfect. Now I would like to go to Foundry and let's see all the resources. So this is the project, this is the Foundry resource which we just created, and you may face like few minutes or seconds of delay and you may not be able to see it here. So you should give some time because this feature is still in preview, so you may face some hiccups here and there. Okay, so this is the project, this is the endpoint key, this is my region. Let's go to build, and here you can not see that agent because that agent we created inside VS Code, and right now it is not yet boarded to this Foundry as a new agent. So what you can do is, if you will click on this view classic agents, because whatever we are publishing from VS Code is like a classic agent. So you need to convert your classic agent to the new agent or the agent which is compatible with the Foundry. So this is the agent which we created. You can just say save as new agent, and as soon as you will, if you want, you can change the name or you can even go with as it is. So it will go ahead and create this agent inside your Foundry, and this is the agent. Now you can see your agent is available over here and you can use it, you can test it, you can play with it using this playground and everything. You can even, if you want, you can use tools, memories, and all these features. So this is the one flow which I wanted to show you, and whatever we have done till now is declarative agents. We have not written any line of code, we have not done anything actually. So let's move on to the second part. The second part here is the hosted agents. So this is the most important one, and what you can do is go to hosted agents, click on this hosted agent, and here you need to select the language. Now the main reason between main difference between declarative and the hosted agent is driven by the code. So whenever you want to provide your own implementation, whenever you want to use any model which is not available on Foundry, or you want your own custom implementation or your workflow handling part, then you will go with the hosted agents. But the declarative one is straightforward. When you have simple scenarios, everything on Azure and models and everything is available, then go with declarative. But if you need customization, then you have to go with the hosted agents. And this is, I think, the ideal one whenever you are going for the enterprise applications. So click on this plus icon here under hosted agents, choose your language. I will go with Python. and then you need to define where you want to place your source code. So I will select some folder here. I will go with my DS folder, and let's provide some name. I would say my demo app. And when we are saying that application name, it means what it is going to do is it is actually going to generate the boilerplate code for you. So instead of you writing everything, it will just provide you something where you can get started yourself. So that is the main reason. And here you can see a new window pops up, and we do have, let me maximize this. Okay. So this is the new window, new VS Code, which got opened when you clicked on that hosted agents. So on the left hand side, you can see some files got added automatically, and make sure that again you are logged into the Azure. In my case, I have logged in, so I'm not facing any issues. Then this is the README file, and it will give you like lot much of information you need to execute or create these agents, or you update this agent. And there are mainly 4 files. You can see the workflow core API, which is mainly for building the workflow, creating the agent, and managing the credentials. So let me open up for you. This is for get credentials. So you can choose which flow you are going, manage identity, default credentials. Then this is the code for creating an agent. So like I said, they will provide you some boilerplate code which you can easily change it. So in this test scenario, they have created an agent with the name writer, and there is another agent with the name reviewer, and both have their own personalities defined over here. So this is how they are creating an agent. Then we do have a workflow, because we want to create a work. Eventually our ultimate goal is to create a workflow with multiple agents. So first agent will behave like a writer, and then whatever output we are getting, that will be passed on to the reviewer agent. So this is how we are plugging in this workflow. And here you must have seen in my earlier videos that whenever you are working with workflows, ages play a very important role. So you make sure that you are defining your ages nicely and correctly. So this is just a sample code, and let's say you have different sort of agent, or you want to use different models or the open source model, then all those things you can do it over here while creating the agent. So this is one file. Talking about the second file, which is an interactive Py, and it will help you to execute your workflows. So you need to run and test it locally before you are moving on to Azure or deploying onto the container. So what it is doing here is it is allowing you to set the observability. Let's say you want to trace what is happening, which agent is being called, what all things we are observing. So those things you need to set it for this port and enable this. So again, you need to set this set it as false or true, depending on what kind of information you are looking for. If you want to include sensitive information as written over here, set it to true. And if you don't want traces or monitoring feature, just get rid of this particular line. Then here it is simply invoking the workflow. So actually this is the file which we are going to call first. Then we do have a container. So this is mainly for, so this container.py, it is mainly for the Azure mode, or I would do the containerized or the server mode, whatever you would like to call it. So here you don't find anything which is related to the local file system. And here you can see we are setting the environment variables and everything. Then we have the environment. So in this file, you need to make sure that you are setting up these 2 things and you are good to go. So let me quickly go to Azure portal and pull these 2 things. So we can go to project details, and this is my project endpoint, which I'm going to paste it over here. Then we need to have a deployment name. So you can find the model under the assets, and you have the models here. So just grab this part and paste it over here. So that's all we need to do. And then if you are new, you don't know what to do, then these are the steps given over here. Let me quickly show you how actually it works. So the first thing we need to do is, as everything is local and it is on us how we create this hosted agent, we have to take care of our environment. So for that, the very first thing we need is a virtual environment. So I will go ahead and create a new virtual environment. So I would say venv, and now it will go ahead and create a virtual environment, and in that virtual environment we will just execute this requirement.txt file. It is having the package which we actually need. So, but again, if you are going with some other things or custom code, make sure that you are having everything in your requirement.txt. So it is taking few seconds. Let's give it some time. Okay, so now it's time to get into this environment, and so we are already inside this. Now I will go ahead and install the dependencies. It should not take much time. Again, I am emphasizing on the same thing. Make sure that you are logged into Azure before performing any of these things. Otherwise, you may not get the results as expected. So whenever you are going to test it locally, make sure that you are using default Azure credentials and you are logged in using easy login, or even you can use the Visual Studio sign-in capabilities to do that for you. It is still going on. Let's give it some time and it should be ready. Or I will pause the video and we'll come back once it is done. So you can see things got installed here. Next thing we need to do is we need to execute this particular file, interactive.py file, because this is meant for local testing. So I would say Python, let me remove this, interactive.py again. It is taking a little bit of time. We need to be patient. So you can see that when we triggered python.py, let's go to this. Okay, so let me go to the point where we triggered this one. Okay, so here we try to execute the interactive.py file, and you can see that it did trigger, and this is what writer is saying. Here is a slogan for new SUV, and this is the slogan, and then reviewer failed. Now the reason why it failed is because the very first reason is I may got the rate limit error. Here you can see, because this is the new feature, and again the region which I am using is not central. So both of these things may contribute to this particular error, but that's pretty okay. You may face or you may not face, it's totally on you. But idea here is not to, like I said, test this agent, but to see how things work. So, but here we can see that it did trigger. It means our agent and the workflow is working. So let's do one thing. Now we have tested and verified it locally. Next thing is we want to containerize it. So for that, what we can do is we need to use this container.py file, which we have seen here, and it is the job of this particular file to push it to the Azure and just run everything over there. But before pushing anything into the container, we should make sure that things are working properly. So if you want to test that out, what you can do is you can go to command palette, and here you can write Microsoft Foundry open container agent. Yeah, so it is always recommended to go and test this using Playground, and if you want to run that locally, you should have some port number. So this is the port number, this is the Playground ready for us. So whenever you want to push this as a containerized application, make sure that you are having you very well tested it locally. So I would just say, let's say or I would say just say hi. Anyway, that's not going to work because our rate limit error is hitting. So but let me try one more time. Now it will work, but we need to make sure that we are executing that container.py file. This is what this instruction is saying. So I will go ahead and say Python, oops, and I would say container.py. It is running at 8080. Now if I will say, because as of the container.py was not running, it was not able to connect with our Playground, but now I ran it, and here you can see the response on the bottom panel is 200 okay. And when I send message, you can see that we got at least some response. That's a different story that we got rate limit, but at least the agent was triggered, and here you can verify the flow. So whenever you are containerizing your application, make sure that you are happy with the flow and the way it is executing. So it is always recommended that you take one look at your workflow and the connections, like how they're connecting to each other. And on the right hand side, I can show you the traces. So this is coming because we have enabled the traces in our container.py file. So this is what we are having. We have set up those things, right? So here you can see who is calling what, which excuse me, which agent was invoked when. So all these things you can check here, and how it all started with building the workflow. So here you can see your workflow ID as well. So this is a little bit more information about it, and here you have agent related information. Now that we are happy and we know that our things are working as expected, next thing is we can go ahead and deploy it. So for deploying it, so here also you can see in the instruction it is saying that make sure that visualization is functioning correctly before moving on to the Azure. So next thing what I'm going to show you is how you can deploy this particular application. So for deploying this, you can again go back to your command palette, search for Microsoft Foundry deploy hosted agent. Click on this one, and here you need to select the browser where your things are. So in my case, everything is sitting in my demo app. I will select that. And in this, you need to select the container.py, because this is the file who is responsible for deployment. Now give some name here, my hosted agent, and as soon as I will click enter, you can see that we need to select the course. So let's select the default one, and at this point it will warn you that do you really want to go ahead and deploy it, because now this is going to be the little bit costlier thing. So hosted agent may result in additional usage fee. Continue only if you acknowledge this and accept this. So if I don't want to do it right now because I have already tried it. And so if you want, you can click on confirm and deploy it, and it will go ahead and deploy everything for you on the Azure. So but I will not go beyond this step. Let's stop it over here. So once the agent is deployed, and let's say you want to, by some reason or due to some reason you forgot that you're not able to pull back that visualizer, so this is the additional tip which I want to share with you. So here what you can do is you can go with open visualizer for hosted agents. Now the important thing to remember here is it will not show you anything until and unless you are running. So if you want to see the workflow, then you have to execute this container.py locally, like how we did a few minutes back. So that is the reason you may not see and you may stuck like why it is not showing up over here. So this is the workflow visualizer where you have multiple agents participating for the same workflow. So I think that's all I have for today, and I hope you enjoyed watching this. So just go ahead and try out this hosted agent capabilities, because things are very straightforward. We need not to write much of boilerplate code, as things are already set up for us. So do let me know in comments what other scenarios do you want me to cover. Thanks for watching.